Just checking in with staff. Okay. At this time, I would like to ask staff to invite all representatives of Deloitte and Touche LLP to present. Your firm was asked not to view the interviews that preceded you. Can you confirm, to the best of your knowledge, that your firm did not view those interviews?
We can confirm.
Thank you.
I believe we're waiting for Mr. Melcher to join.
Okay, no worries. Just let me know when you're ready. And when you are ready, Deloitte and Touche, you will have 10 minutes for your presentation. And staff will start the clock for 10 minutes when Deloitte and Touche LLP staff begins their presentation. So
Mr. Melcher should be coming.
We get everybody on there. Great.
James, you ready? Mute.
Yeah, I just got here.
Oh, okay. Welcome, everybody, and thank you for being here to present. And you'll have 10 minutes for your presentation, and the clock will start whenever you begin.
Okay, well, good afternoon, and thank you very, very much for hosting us here virtually today. My name is James Melcher, and I'm the leader of the audit services that Deloitte would be providing to you. I've been with Deloitte's audit practice for nearly 20 years, spending my time both in the investment management and the pension industries. So when we were here almost 2 years ago, the world was very clearly a different place. What has not changed is that Deloitte is still uniquely and best positioned to partner with CalPERS into this ever-changing business environment. I'm thrilled to have the opportunity to serve you and to demonstrate that our technology and our world-class industry expertise, which drive our profession-leading quality, make Deloitte the clear choice to be the independent auditor for CalPERS going forward. Now, in the interest of efficiency, I will quickly introduce our team members, who you will also see listed on the first page of our presentation. I'll trust you get to know their extensive expertise more during the Q&A. First is Catherine Daubek. Catherine is our designated pension specialist with 29 years of experience that perfectly matches CalPERS business. She is a leader in our National Employee Benefit Plans practice and participates on the AICPA expert panel for the employee benefit plan industry. Also, on a personal note, I met Catherine in my very first week at Deloitte, and she has served as a mentor of mine for my entire career. There is nobody I would rather have lending their deep expertise to the CalPERS audit than her. Next is Tim Mundy. Tim has served as a national managing partner in our investment management practice and has 30 years of experience across every type and every size of asset manager. He and I have been working together for over a decade on many different private equity and hedge fund complexes throughout California and even beyond. To put it bluntly, he is the most equipped professional I can think of to help audit the fair value of $400 billion of diverse, complex pensioner assets for CalPERS. Next is Peter Mann. Peter Mann is our government retirement system specialist. He has nearly 20 years of accounting expertise serving local and multinational clients, including those in the government sector. Most recently, he served as lead partner for the Utah Retirement Systems Audit, and he brings his vast experience with GASB requirements to CalPERS as well. Next is Michael De Leon. Michael is our lead actuarial specialist and the leader of Deloitte Consulting's public sector retirement actuarial practice. He has over 20 years of experience providing pension and other post-employment actuarial services to all levels of state and local government, including acting as a lead actuary for the retiree health plan for the University of California. He also has worked with Peter on the Utah State Retirement System audit. Next is Julie Quinn. Julie is the office managing partner in Sacramento, and she leads our more than 300 local practitioners there. She's also head of the nonprofit organizations practice in the greater Sacramento area and has been a consultant to California state government for over 25 years, including projects at CalSTRS and CalPERS during that time. So Deloitte has an enormous strength of resources, and that starts with our on-site supervisors and our team that will serve CalPERS on the ground in Sacramento, with Julie facilitating all of CalPERS needs in that regard. Now, I'd like to hand things over to Geneva Faraimo, another Sacramento-based leader from our team to introduce herself and to continue our presentation. Thank you.
Thanks, James, and hello, everyone. My name is Geneva Faraimo, as James mentioned, and I'm an audit managing director based here in our Sacramento office. You know, being born and raised in Sacramento and now raising my own children here, this is truly the place that I call home. Many friends and family are proud CalPERS pensioners, so the hometown feel to this opportunity is not lost on me. As for my role in the team, as James mentioned, I would be the day-to-day supervisor for the audit. Really just the boots on the ground here in Sacramento. And although we're currently remote, we still very firmly believe that forging long-term relationships with your organization in our shared community is probably more important now than ever before. We also very much empathize with the disruption of COVID-19, along with other unique challenges facing CalPERS, such as changes in the investment mix and returns, evolving market conditions, new government regulations, and now a very virtual working environment. CalPERS is at a critical juncture, and the need to partner with a firm who excels in navigating all of those areas has never been greater. As you organization is the largest and most complex pension retirement system in the United States, and having the world's largest professional services firm as your independent financial statement auditor is the clear choice to navigate these changes. Why? 3 main reasons. First, our preeminent size and innovation. We have invested over $1 billion in world-class technology that will greatly benefit your organization. You will experience a digital audit with seamless workflows and powerful analytics that are driven by our cloud-based audit platform, Omnia. You will experience efficient and insightful testing of CalPERS investment valuations and transactions using our Deloitte investment auditing application, DNAV. You will experience a significantly reduced burden on your finance and accounting team's time spent on the audit because of our online communication hub, Deloitte Connect. These are just a few of the many features that our Omnia platform helps provide, while always keeping the data that we would receive from CalPERS secure, but also generating valuable insights to CalPERS financial operations, and of course, providing flexibility to communicate and interact virtually as needed. Secondly, audit quality. Because of our investment in and commitment to innovation, we are consistently and increasingly #1 in audit quality. If you look at the chart on the bottom left of this first slide, you'll see that our regulator, the PCAOB, has recognized us as the top quality firm in our profession through our inspection results. To further illustrate, the gap here has actually increased from our presentation to you all just under 2 years ago. In fact, the most recent round of PCAOB inspections were performed remotely, and our technology-driven approach and focus clearly shined in this environment, with our comment rate improving over the prior year. Honestly, this tells you that we are the undisputed leader in quality. And that translates to the CalPERS organization in that you can proudly and confidently publish your financial statements as having been audited by Deloitte. You can trust that we focus the audit procedures in areas of highest risk. You can leverage our insights in aspects of the organization that matter most to key stakeholders, thanks to our technology and team demonstrating Deloitte's industry-leading success in audit quality. Third and finally, industry, your industry. CalPERS is a complex organization crossing many required skill sets, and we have a team that can navigate the breadth of that complexity. If we can turn to the second page of our presentation, you'll see here that our firm, and specifically this team, are clear industry leaders in investment management, government and public sector, and employee benefit plans and retirement systems. All of these areas are represented on our team by the best of the best in those practices and are leaders in the industry who demonstrate our capability and history of serving entities like CalPERS. To conclude, and turning briefly back to the first slide, thank you. You'll see on the bottom right here that Deloitte continues to be the leader in new Fortune 1000 wins and the only Big Four firm with a net positive change ratio in total auditor changes since 2015. We are also recognized by Forbes as the top professional services firm to work for in the United States, with our focus on diversity, equal pay, and innovation among the factors that have earned us this recognition. So, why Deloitte? Frankly, we are the firm that is uniquely and best positioned to partner with CalPERS over the next 5 years as independent auditor. Our clear leadership in innovative technologies, audit quality, industry expertise across our functions are the pillars of what our firm can bring to CalPERS. Thank you. We look forward to your questions.
Thank you very much for the presentation. We will now proceed to the 20-minute question and answer segment of the interview. Deloitte & Touche LLP, you have a total of 8 questions, so please plan your time accordingly. Staff will please start the clock for 20 minutes when the first question is asked. And I will ask the first question, which is, confirm that your firm has read the proposed contract included in the RFP at Exhibit 4 and is prepared to sign these terms and conditions as they've been presented if your firm is the successful proposer.
Well, thank you very much. We have read the contract, and in a proactive approach, what we've done is we've identified 4 items of which we would like to have a discussion about. 2 of them are around general business terms. Honestly, what does that mean? It's a conversation between lawyers on lawyers that will take about 15 minutes to resolve. The other 2 are professional standards that we would be unable to sign because of the professional standards obligations we would have being your independent auditor. We put these forth proactively a couple of months ago. We put them in our presentation that you all have seen and read. But overall, these are not deal breakers at all.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mundy. And on to question number 2, Ms. Middleton.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chair. Please describe your firm's culture and values. How do they align with CalPERS diversity and inclusion? What concrete steps and metrics is your firm using to ensure a diverse workforce?
Sure, I'll be happy to answer that. Thank you for the question. And I personally appreciate this question as I'm very passionate about this particular topic. You know, being a woman holding a leadership position at a global and prestigious firm like Deloitte, honestly, to me, means it's my duty to pay it forward to the women that'll come after me. You know, being of Pacific Islander descent, also firmly believe it's my duty to pay it forward to our underrepresented minorities, specifically those in our Black community. So this hits close to home for me. And I would say, as far as actions, you know, we as a firm aren't interested in kind of, you know, making statements that come and go with the news. We're all about walking the talk, right? Taking action, making long-lasting, sustainable, and meaningful change. And so to that end, we've recently formed what we're calling our Black Action Council. And that's comprised of Deloitte professionals across various functions and age groups, as well as outside advisors. And this is just one small step of our commitment to long-lasting change. We're also very, very active in the universities and in community colleges that are historically Black student bodies. So I would say there are very measurable actions in place and ongoing. Thank you.
Okay, our next question, Mr. Ruffino.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. What sets your firm apart from the other public accounting firms? And why should we select a larger firm versus a smaller firm, or vice versa? What are the benefits?
This is James. I'll start that one. So I think, as you mentioned a bit in the presentation, CalPERS is very large, very complex. And so when you think about what is needed in an auditor, it's not just an auditor, it's several auditors, right? From an investment perspective, there are across the gamut type of investments, from private equity to hedge funds to direct investments. And so you want a firm that can have worked on all of those, right? Large institutions, small institutions, private equity, and we bring that. We're the preeminent firm in that regard. Likewise, when you talk about the needs to audit the pension assets, all those type of things, Catherine Daubek and her team, she works on large, Northrop, Boeing, other very large pension systems as well. Michael DeLeon, we have our own internal actuarial practice, right? We don't have to outsource that function at all. Michael DeLeon does this for a living. He's bringing his team's expertise as well. Brett, we have an office in Sacramento. So Julie is there with 300 practitioners who are ready to help. And so I think one of the reasons to pick with a large firm is you owe it to the stakeholders to be able to find a firm who can address all the risks that are facing the organization, and to do that with the preeminent quality in the industry. And we have both.
Thank you.
Okay. Next question. What is your firm's experience in auditing large public pension systems with complex investments similar to CalPERS?
Catherine, do you want to step in on the large pension systems? And then maybe Peter, if you want to follow as well.
Yeah, so we have extensive experience nationally in auditing the large retirement systems, and Peter has been lead on the state of Utah, and I know he's going to talk about that. But I think there's something distinguishing that we bring in, and I know we're probably reiterating it when we talk about investments, employee benefit plan experience, our government and public sector, and the GASB. All of that comes together with our actuarial services to provide and bring a team with in-depth knowledge. And all of our tools are designed for public retirement systems. So we actually come prepared with a team. Nationally, we do work in New York, Texas, across many of the bigger state entities, and we're recognized for our work. And Peter, I'm going to turn it to you because you can really talk firsthand about your experience with Utah.
Certainly, yeah, I appreciate that, Catherine. We have significant experience, as Catherine said, in auditing retirement systems across the United States. And I was involved for several years on the audit of the Utah retirement systems. And we were with them and walked hand in hand through the implementation of GASB 67 and 68. And based on their fiscal year end being December 31st, it falls, and some of those standards become effective for them in advance of others. And so we definitely had experience in helping them navigate through that. We certainly have been involved in with the AICPA, with the Government Audit Quality Center, with the expert panel. We have fellows that have participated with the GASB. We are involved in the GASB standard setting process in actively commenting and being involved in those standard settings. And so all that allows us to stay current on what's happening and what's impacting retirement systems, that we can make sure that new accounting pronouncements are adopted and implemented properly, that you remain in compliance, and that we are able to deliver an effective and efficient audit for CalPERS.
Thank you. Next question from Ms. Middleton, please.
All right, thank you. CalPERS is constantly impacted by new laws and regulations. How will your firm ensure your staff is up to date with regulatory requirements for public pension systems?
So this is Catherine. Why don't I start with this? we have a team nationally that is responsible for overseeing all of the regulations as they come out, and also in preparing the training that it goes from partner all the way down to staff. I can tell you, I participate in training monthly, and they keep us very active and current in what we do and what we know. So similar to what Peter was talking about, we bring a team of, and it's not just us as an auditor, it extends out to all of our specialties. We all come together with the same level of technical knowledge and understanding to design an audit approach that is specific to CalPERS. So trust me, you're going to have people who are there, knowledgeable, and asking the right questions, because we should not be coming to you expecting you to teach us. That's not what Deloitte does. So we'll be there, prepared.
Maybe if I might just add to that briefly too. We receive, Deloitte's a world-class organization. Our people are our greatest asset, and we invest heavily and significantly in training and developing our people so that we can deliver to CalPERS. And that training is tailored. We receive training that's very industry specific to retirement systems. We receive weekly communications internally through the firm about anything that's changing in any of the standard setting process, GASB updates, accounting standard updates, anything of that nature, so that we make sure that our people are armed and have all the information necessary in order to deliver and to make sure that we help CalPERS remain in compliance with all the standards and all the things that it's required to remain in compliance with.
Okay, our next question is from Mr. Ruffino.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So how does your firm plan on ensuring compliance with the revised 508 standards for accessibility of all deliverables, including any electronic content?
This is James. So I think as it relates to any of the requirements, much to like the regulatory requirements, GAS requirements, any other electronic deliverable requirements, anything like that, we have a information security program leadership. We have other programs within our IT environment and other things that will make sure that whatever it is that the requirement is going forward, we'll make sure that we as a team work on that and provide whatever deliverables that are now or as they will be going forward. So any change that CalPERS brings to us, that any regulation brings to us, we have a national office that can handle that, and we will deliver.
Yeah, and James, it's Julie. I'll just add on to that for publicizing information, our teams on different parts of our organization build very complicated systems and solutions, web-based and other, for our clients, and are very familiar with different accessibility standards. So we would make sure we would bring in those folks as well. If there was a particular standard that either was new or unusual, we would make sure we brought in different parts of the firm to help us address that.
Thank you. Next question. Please explain your proposed fees and your rationale for allocating staff hours across all 5 years. Do you anticipate less effort in each subsequent year? And if so, how is that built into your fees structure?
So this is James Melcher. Once again, thank you for the question. This is a great question. And as it relates to our fees, I would tell you where we started with that is bottom up. So in other words, we talked with Catherine about auditing the pension side of things. We talked with Peter about the GASB requirements. We talked with Michael and his team about the time it would take for actuarial services, and then Tim sat down and went over the portfolio and looked into, say, well, we've done these before. Let's take a look at what we think that would be. Because like we said before, we have experience auditing large, complex entities such as CalPERS. And so the audit hours that were built up were built up from that ground up perspective. And so then as you go out into a 5-year look forward, right, there's a few things that you would build into that, right? You would build into sort of the institutional knowledge. So over time, teams are going to learn efficiencies. We're going to sort of get better as we know CalPERS more intimately over time. And so you might find yourself having some efficiencies over time in that regard. Of course, the flip side of that is, right, day to day, year to year, who knows what other scope changes are out there. But here's what I would say. Our fee is built up, and when we were here 18 months ago, our fee really hasn't changed. It is the same as what it was. And that's because we don't think the CalPERS entity has gotten any less complex. The world has not gotten less complex. And frankly, we would be concerned if we were looking at a fee that had changed drastically less than it had been when we were presenting it 18 months ago. Our fee is not designed to, quote unquote, buy the audit. It is a real fee. We do not plan to come back to you in a year or 2 or 3 and say, whoops, sorry, we forgot to do this. We forgot to scope that. Here's all the additional things we're going to need to do now. I think it is very transparent and it is very fair, and that's how the hours are built up over time.
Okay, the next question is to Ms. Middleton.
All right, thank you. Is there anything that you would like to add?
So James, I do, if I can jump in.
Yeah, absolutely. Anybody that wants to.
So I just wanted to add into the questions earlier around culture and values and diversity. It is something that we take very seriously. It's something that we have put effort into from a global standpoint within our firm, as well as in the U.S. practice and locally here in Sacramento. We have inclusion councils that are very, very active in not only making sure we recruit and retain the most diverse pool of candidates and resources, but that we're also working with our clients and our universities in our community and the nonprofits in our community to help support and drive the issues of the day. And so that's something that's really important to the core of who we are as a firm. And I know that's important to CalPERS as well. I know you have a very family-like organization. I know it's a very collegial and collaborative environment, and that mirrors what we do at Deloitte and how we operate, and take that responsibility very seriously, not just in the community, but with each other. And the folks that are on this team are folks I've known for quite some time, especially Mr. Deloitte in Geneva. We've worked together for many years now, and I can tell you, as we put this team together in particular, we made sure that we had not only the diversity of expertise, but the diversity of perspective and background. And so I just wanted to just add that additional information for your consideration.
Okay, I think that pretty much concludes this part of the interview. And so I'll ask whether the subcommittee has any clarifying or follow-up questions for Deloitte & Touche LLP.
I would like to ask Deloitte to talk about their understanding of the relationship of their role to the board and to staff.
Tim, you wanna handle that one, sir?
Absolutely. Our relationship to the board and the staff is one of a professional relationship. We believe that the board operates as an independent body. We operate as an independent body, and we support the staff's work and what we're trying to accomplish. It's a completely collaborative approach, recognizing that we are the independent auditors, and we need to, of course, challenge the books and records that are presented to us. But with that, we understand the working environment that we need to go through to work with the staff and then present an objective view to the board and to its shareholders or its constituents, which happen to be the retirees at this point in time. So it's a very dynamic relationship that we have, and we take our professional responsibilities with integrity very seriously. That is our expectation of the parties mentioned.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Deloitte and Touche LLP, this concludes your interview. I'd
Mr.
like
Chair?
to thank the representatives from Deloitte. Oh, Mr. Ruffino?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, may I have one additional clarifying question.
Oh, go ahead, Mr. Ruffino.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Your proposal states that the audit manager doesn't currently have a California CPA license. Could you provide a status on your plan to obtain it to comply with the provisions of the RFP that require valid licensing by the contract date?
Yeah, so everybody on our team, by the contract date start that requires a California CPA license, will have that California CPA license. Everybody that's on the team that is in that role has been working towards that. And so that is all part of a built-up plan of the continuing education and the needs. So that's what I'll say in process.
So by February.
Thank you.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so Deloitte and Touche LLP, this concludes your interview. I would like to thank the representatives from Deloitte and Touche LLP for their time today and ask them to please leave the WebEx.
All right. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Hi, thank you.
Okay, at this time, we'll have a 10-minute break, and after the break, we'll proceed with the interviews. So I have 3:06, so let's make it, let's just go ahead and make it 3:10. We'll make it about a 14-minute break. So we'll reconvene at 3:10. Hopefully we'll have everybody on board.
3:10 or 3:20?
Oh, let's see, what is it? Oh, 3:20, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Good thing I'm not an auditor.